I wanted to make a cute little Christmas video tonight. You know, I've been kind of in the Christmas spirit lately. It's been a couple of years since I made a Christmas video. I was in the mood, and something happened to me on my way home tonight that changed the nature of this video. I was driving in the dark. It's been raining here recently. I was driving on this kind of backcountry road, going, to be honest with you, way too fast. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this giant puddle. And I didn't even have time to tap my brakes. I hit this puddle going, 65 miles an hour on a bumpy back road, and my vehicle started to hydroplane. And luckily, I've hydroplaned my vehicle before. I kind of knew what to do, but I came that close to losing control, rolling my vehicle, and possibly smashing myself, into a tree and dying tonight. And for some reason, rather than being really nervous and the adrenaline pumping and really hyper aware of everything I was doing on the rest of my drive home, I had this epiphany. I had this epiphany about, of all things, a video that I've been trying to make for literally 3 years. And, the question that I get asked the most often on my channel, if you look at my front page, my channel comments, it's always, Paul, make more videos. Why don't you make more videos? More videos, more. And this is the major reason why I don't make more videos. Because I've had this video lodged inside of me for like 3 years, and it's just stymied me. Every time I sit down to make this video, what comes out of me, if anything at all, is I'm so critical of it that I can't bring myself to upload it. And that is so contrary to what every other video that I've ever made has been. 99% of the time, I see something that pisses me off. I see something that I find amusing. I sit down in front of my webcam. I blah, blah, blah. Whatever comes out of me, comes out of me. I upload it to YouTube. The subscribers are happy. I'm happy. This video, for whatever reason, I've been so concerned with how this video would be perceived. And I came to realize tonight that I've got to let that go. That the problem is that I've been trying to make this video for you. And I'm not trying to insult anybody with that. I'm not saying you're not worthy of a video. But this is a rare video that I need to make 100% for myself. This is something that I have to get out of me, despite my fears that it's going to be trite or a retreading of shit that people are shouting on the internet every day, or just another fat, lazy white guy with a webcam mentally masturbating and beating a dead horse while not doing anything about the problems that he's bitching about. I've got to let all that go. I just have to get this out of me. I have to say it. And I have to say it in this weird, semi-public arena of YouTube, because I need it to be there for posterity. I need to know that this is out there. I need to know that one other person heard me say this so that I can be free of it. Growing up in the little town that I grew up in, this kind of little farming community that's half really hardcore redneck and half Mexicans, I've had to, and then growing up into a 30-year-old man that likes to think of himself as a free thinker, I've had to slaughter a lot of sacred cows along the journey from little toe-headed redneck boy to 30-year-old man who's kind of a free thinker. I've had to slaughter a lot of sacred cows, and by far, the hardest sacred cow for me to chain down to the altar and lop the head off of is this one. It has to do with me being lied to as a child, and I'll give you a little insight into this. If you grew up in the United States and went to a public school, you were lied to too. One of the first things that I remember learning in school, and I have a pretty good memory of my childhood. I'm lucky with that. I have a lot of really clear, vivid memories of my childhood. And one of the first concepts I remember bringing home from kindergarten was that America was a superior nation. We had the best people. We had the most freedom. We had the best and brightest scientists. We had the best military. We had more access to health care and education than anybody else in the world. Everybody else in the world was climbing over themselves for the privilege to call themselves an American. America was the land of the free and the home of the brave. One of the first things I learned in kindergarten, was it the alphabet? No, it was the flag salute. And I remember feeling weird about it. I remember thinking how weird this is, that we're learning this weird little poem, and we're holding our hands over our hearts, and we're talking to this piece of cloth. But all those concerns were quickly driven out of me. Okay, this idea was just spiked into my skull as a child, and it holds on. Up until this moment right now, it holds on to me. And it seems like I know to some people it probably seems like a silly thing, but I have not been able to let that go. Every time that I open my mouth critically with regards to this country. Every time I feel like I want to criticize this country, there's this little niggling voice in the back of my head that says, how dare you, Paul? You know how fat and fucking lazy you are? You know how privileged you are? You know how awash in luxury that you are compared to 99% of the fucking world? Do you know you could have been a Somalian? You could have been born in Liberia where 90% of girls are raped before their 12th birthday and 90% of men at some point in their lives will have a limb hacked off and sold on a fucking meat cart in a slum. Do you have any idea how fucking privileged you are? How dare you criticize this country? How dare you sit there in your life of abject luxury and criticize this fucking great country? How dare you? But you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done carrying the water for this fucking country. I'm done. I can't carry the torch anymore. I cannot carry the torch anymore for this country. America is not the land of the free, nor is it the home of the brave. It is neither of those things at this point in history. Okay? America is a country of fucking cowards. Show me one instance of real bravery in this fucking country. And before you do it, don't throw the troops at me. Please spare me the fucking troops. If I hear one more person co-opt the fucking troops, I'm literally going to vomit right here on my webcam. I'm going to puke and you're going to have to watch it. Don't co-opt the fucking troops. I'm not talking about the troops. I'm talking about the 99% of Americans in this country that shit themselves with fear if a brown person gets onto the bus with them. Or they have to ride in a plane with somebody wearing a turban. I'm talking about the 99% of people in this country that are willing to submit themselves to a digital script search as a prerequisite to travel in this country. Can you believe that shit's going on? And don't start with me, Paul. It's not a strip search. It's an X-ray. It's a backscatter X-ray machine. No, motherfucker. No, it's a strip search machine. Okay, you want to go through a fucking machine and allow some TSA fuckwad to oogle your fucking Johnson and your balls and your taint and your butt crack? You want your wife going through one of those fucking things? Your little girl, your grandma, your mom? I don't. Americans line up around the fucking block to submit themselves to this shit. Where's the outrage? Well, there's been a little bit of outrage. Barely registers on the fucking radar, barely worth mentioning. Barely fucking worth mentioning. America is a country of aggressively ignorant fucking cowards. People that are just willing to hand over their fucking civil liberties, lock, stock, and barrel, without even asking a fucking question. Without even taking the time to inform themselves. They're so stupid and so deluded and so caught in the quagmire that is their empty fucking infotainment-filled lives that they just line up for somebody to tell them how they should feel. Please, Glenn Beck. Please, Keith Olbermann. Please tell me how I'm supposed to feel so I don't have to pick up a fucking newspaper or search the fucking internet, so I don't have to make my own mind up so I can continue to be stupid. Do you realize that Americans, I'm talking to you, do you realize that in this country, being stupid is no longer considered to be a detriment? Being stupid is considered to be a virtue in this fucking country. We reward the stupid in this country. That's exactly the opposite thing that we should do. Stupid people in this country should be fucking encouraged to not be stupid. There should be social pressure on people that are willfully fucking ignorant to not be stupid, and instead we reward people. We reward stupidity in this country. We reward people with multi-million-dollar TV contracts so that all the other stupid people can sit around and watch how stupid these people are. Stupidity is a virtue in this country. I can't stand it. I can't stand it anymore. This is one of the hardest things that I've ever had to say, and I know how cliche this fucking sounds. I can't believe it's going to come out of my mouth, but I have to be fucking honest with myself. Before I go on, I don't have any illusions of utopia. I don't have any illusions that America could somehow be this perfect place. I've realized long ago that there were a lot of problems in America in need of fixing. Okay? But what I do see in America is potential. I see the potential of this place. And when I see the potential and what America actually is, it breaks my fucking heart. It breaks my fucking heart to see a place like this that has so much fucking potential wasted. Absolutely fucking wasted by its citizens. It breaks my fucking heart. I am ashamed to be an American. My being an American is a source of shame for me. I take no pride in this country. And I don't mean to denigrate people that actually work to try and make life better for people. I don't mean to denigrate people that donate their time, donate their money, work actively to try and improve conditions for people in this country. But let's be honest with ourselves. While we're keeping it real here, folks, let's be honest with ourselves. Those people are a small fucking minority. For every one person that gives of themselves, there are at least 100 fucking drooling retards. You know it and I know it, so let's be honest. I'm ashamed to live in this country. I'm ashamed to be an American. It's a source of shame for me. I'm disgusted when I turn on the TV. I'm disgusted when I look at the news. Let's talk about something that's in the news really quick. Something that people's fucking, even people that would consider themselves to be enlightened, their views are so fucking skewed on this. Let's look at WikiLeaks. I know, great, another WikiLeaks mention in a YouTube video. I haven't seen fucking 16 of these this week. Fuck. Let's look at WikiLeaks. I see so much rank hero worship going on with regards to Julian Assange. Now, I'm not trying to denigrate what he does. I think that WikiLeaks is important. I think that Julian Assange is important. I'm thankful that he does what he does. But I see so many people hyper-focused. Oh, Julian Assange has been locked up, pending bail in the West Chesterfordshire jail. Meanwhile, the young man who actually allegedly leaked this shit, the young man who, if you read his email, the transcripts of the emails that he wrote back and forth to the person he leaked this to, sounds like the very essence of a fucking whistleblower to me. Sounds like somebody who saw something that his country was doing, who saw, in fact, so many things that his country was doing, that he couldn't stand to sit on that secret for the rest of his life. He couldn't stand the fact that this type of shit was going on behind people's backs. He knew he had to do something. That kid, Bradley Manning, has been sitting in a fucking 24-hour lockdown solitary confinement cell in Quantico, Virginia for 8 fucking months, and I barely hear his name mentioned on the fucking news. I barely hear anybody give a fuck about this kid. In fact, a lot of people want to see him lynched. A lot of people want to see this kid who saw the disgusting bullshit that goes on behind the scenes right under Americans' noses that Americans are too stupid and fucking deluded to see. He wanted to give them the opportunity to see that shit, and they want to hang him for it. Or in my mind, almost even worse, they want to focus all their attention on Julian Assange, who's a mouthpiece. You know what? WikiLeaks is great, but WikiLeaks is missing one critical component. You've got to have access to information, and you've got to have an informed public who knows how to process information. And one of those things, I'll let you guess which one, is conspicuously absent in this country. I'm sick to death of this fucking country. I'm sick to death. I'm heartsick. I'm heartsick. I'm ashamed. And you know what? If you're an American, you should be fucking ashamed too. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed of the country that you live in. Oh, and a Merry Christmas. What's up, everybody? I would be remiss at the beginning of this video if I didn't take a couple of seconds to welcome all the new subscribers coming over from TJ's channel. TJ and I go way back here on YouTube, and if you look at my number of subscribers, I think the last time I looked I had like 13,000, maybe encroaching on 14,000 subscribers. If were it not for TJ, I'd have probably 10 or 11,000 less subscribers. So most of my audience is a small subsection of his audience. So welcome to the channel. Happy to have you. Glad to have your fucking input. With me, the subscriber count thing has never really mattered. Well, I guess that's a lie. If I had no subscribers, I probably wouldn't make videos. But it's not so much about the number of people as it's about the feedback that I get. And one of the criticisms I've always had of myself, being a very introspective person and a very self-critical person, is that my channel oftentimes feels like an echo chamber for me, because the response to my videos that I get is almost always overwhelmingly positive. I'm bragging about that. It just is what it is. You go back and look at my videos, you know, the negative comments are so far outnumbered that they just get lost in the shuffle. But I like the negative comments, and I think that getting more people watching me gets more of that into the mix. So if you don't agree with me, welcome. If you agree with me, welcome. If you're a troll, we need more, you know, trolls. I need a few more trolls. We need to mix some shit up. Also, just to clear something up, TJ said it in his video. He was worried about me getting angry that he uploaded my video in full. Just for the record, so in the future, if you're wondering, do whatever the fuck you want with my videos. I don't care. I don't have any illusions of intellectual property rights when it comes to my videos. Take them, chop them up, make me look like I'm saying something that I, you know, didn't really say. Like, I like to fuck sheep in the asshole. You know what I mean? Like, chop it up. I don't care. I don't care what you do. Anybody that does YouTube will tell you that when somebody does that, when somebody takes a chunk of your video and uploads it, even if they're lampooning you, it more often than not brings views and subscribers to your channel rather than detracts them. So if you want to do it, do it. You know, the way that I work on YouTube is that when I make a video, I don't like to dwell on the same exact subject of a video for multiple videos in a row. It's just, when I make a video, I kind of say everything I want to say about it and move on. But this last video that I made, the one that most of you have seen on TJ's channel, has sparked enough debate and enough good questions that I feel like I want to kind of give an addendum to it. So I guess I'll call this one Happy New Year. I don't know. I'm a little less pissed than I was in the last video. But, so I'll start with TJ's video first. The thing that really resonated with me about TJ's video was this idea of incremental change. The fact that this country has gotten noticeably better in the last 100 years. He talks about the rights of African Americans. They were full-blown slaves, and now, you know, they can vote, they can marry whoever they please. And I have kind of a weird perspective on this, and maybe it's just because I'm such a deep, dyed-in-the-fucking-wool cynic. But I don't look at those changes as positive. Now, before you start shouting at me, give me a second. Please. I don't look at them as positive because of how hard people had to fight to get them. The fact that America was the shame of the fucking Western world with its slavery trade. It was despicable. All right? Long after other westernized cultures, long after other industrialized nations had realized that slavery was this ugly, horrific, dehumanizing thing, America was still turning out them bales of cotton and them buckets of molasses, yeehaw, whip them niggers into shape. You know, it seems like we're the last ones to figure it out. I'm ashamed of that. I'm ashamed of how long it took for us to realize that people that have different skin colors are also human beings and deserving of the same rights. So this incremental change that TJ talks about as a positive thing, I, in my infinite cynicism, spin that into a negative. The fact that it takes us so fucking long to get something right, to get something so basic as the fact that a human is a human correct, is another source of shame for me. The fact that during the lifetime of my parents, black people couldn't drink out of the same fucking drinking fountains as white people could. That's shameful. That's shameful. And the fact that we don't deserve a pat on the back for that. I'm sorry. America doesn't deserve a pat on the back because we're no longer institutionalizing forced labor. We're no longer trading in people like they're chattel, like they're a fucking commodity. We don't deserve a pat on the back for that. That's like patting yourself on the back because you stopped pissing your pants. You know what I mean? It's the logical conclusion. The fact that it took us so fucking long to get there. The fact that so much of this country dug its heels in The fact that this country fractured itself in fucking half and killed each other in just unprecedented fucking numbers over this. The fact that it didn't just happen. You know what I mean? That's not something to be fucking proud of. That's a source of shame. I'm ashamed of the fact that I live in a country that took so long to get that right. So, I get where TJ's coming from, but I don't see it that way. I'm not prepared to pat this country on the back because it figured out how not to piss its pants. I'm not prepared. Okay? He talks about McCarthyism. I hate to sound like a rank conspiracy theorist here, but doesn't it seem like we're kind of backsliding with regards to that shit? Doesn't it seem like that your political views are starting to become a more polarizing thing? That instead of becoming more accepting of opposite political views, we're starting to become less accepting? We've got people splintering off into their own little one-tooth hillbilly yeehaw, hoedown fucking political movements, tea parties, or whatever the fuck they want to call them. Calling people traitors. Do you remember just 8 years ago, I know we've all tried to flush George W. Bush down the fucking shitter. But do you remember like 8, 7, 6 years ago when there was a good cross-section of this country that was calling people traitors for questioning the president in a time of war? The whole McCarthyism thing, I don't think that wound is healed. I think it's called something different now. I think it's kind of shifted a little bit. But I don't think that wound is healed. In fact, I think that wound is festering. And I think that wound is going to continue to fester because, as I said, not to repeat myself, but as I said in my last video, I think people are dumb, and I think they're getting dumber, and I think it's going to take an informed populace to cauterize that fucking wound and finally let it scab over. And I don't think we got that, and I don't think we're going to get that. So, no. Those sources of pride that TJ listed, I'm glad that TJ that you can find something to be proud of in this country. But you got to dig. I guess you're going to have to dig deeper than that to find something that I'm proud of in this country. I don't believe that America deserves a pat on the back because it figured that out. And we've still got large, minorities in this country who are still being denied their basic human rights. It used to be the black people, now it's gays. Now gays and lesbians are having to fight tooth and nail for the basic right to marry who they want, to enjoy the same social status as heterosexuals do. I don't see progress. I see a shifting of problems. Okay, and what little progress there is, even in the deepest, darkest pit of my black little cynic's heart, I have to admit that there has been some incremental progress. But I don't think we have the luxury of progress being that incremental. I don't think we've got the time. I'm sorry, I don't think we have time to wait another 100 years to decide that humans all deserve the same rights. I don't think we have the time to wait another 100 years for people to decide that they don't want the government looking at them while they shower. They don't want the government looking at their dick in order to get on the plane. Now, here's something that I wanted to bring up. This is something that I got in the comments for my video. I saw it in the comments of TJ's video. I got a video response from somebody kind of saying this. There are a lot of people who kind of support this TSA thing. And to those people that say, well, what would you do? What's the alternative, Paul? Do we just let these terrorists flood onto our planes and blow up our fucking planes? You prove my point. You prove my fucking point. If you honestly support this TSA bullshit, you're the coward I was talking about in that Merry Xmas video. Sorry to inform you. Sorry to have to drop that knowledge on you. I know it's a hard thing to hear for an idiot. If there's one thing, convincing an idiot that he's an idiot has got to be the hardest fucking thing in the world. But I'm sorry, if you think this TSA body scanner thing that we've got to all now strip naked digitally to ensure our safety on an airplane is in any way warranted, you're a fucking moron. Cleanse the fucking gene pool. Okay, don't squirt another nut in a girl. Please learn how to use a condom. Please don't procreate. It's cowardly. I would rather, and I'll say this flat out, I would rather risk the small, minute, insignificant statistical chance that I will get on a plane that is somehow hijacked and flown into a building. I would rather risk that teeny, tiny, little, barely worth mentioning fucking million billion to one fucking chance, right? I would rather risk that than let one TSA agent look at my balls. Call me a fucking crazy person. That's cowardly. If you're willing to strip yourself fucking naked for a government employee to save yourself from some tiny little statistical possibility that you might get hurt on a plane, then you're a fucking coward. You're exactly what I was talking about in that last video. Go fuck yourself. So just to address that. And then the last thing that I wanted to address is comments that people have left me saying, well, what are you going to do about it, Paul? Are you just another, loudmouthed asshole on the internet that just spews venom at his webcam but doesn't do shit? Well, I'm not one to brag, but yes, for the most part I am. For the most part I am just another fat, lazy asshole with a webcam living a life of abject luxury that does absolutely nothing to help his fellow man. I do donate my time. I do donate money when I have the chance. But it is so hard for me. It is so hard for me to see those acts of kindness that I can afford to give, to see the time that I can afford to donate to a cause as anything but just a drop in the fucking ocean. And to see myself as a small minority of people that extend their hand to their fellow man and say, here's a leg up. I know you're down on your luck. So I do help out. But I kind of agree with you. And that's the problem. That's the source of my frustration. I do feel like just another fat American, just another fat white guy with a webcam, yelling and screaming and not doing anything about it. My problem is what little time that I have when I'm not working or trying to take care of, what it takes to maintain an existence in this country, just feels like a drop in the fucking ocean. It doesn't feel like enough. And that's my problem. Yeah. So anyway, that covers what I wanted to fucking cover. So once again, welcome to all the new people. And as cynical as it sounded at the end of my last video, I do hope that you had a Merry Christmas. I had a pretty awesome Christmas. My favorite present was my wife got me a Big Lebowski movie poster, which as soon as I can be arsed to go buy myself a frame, will be adorning this wall back behind me soon, because my walls are completely bare in this little room. I was so happy when we bought this house that I had my own little computer. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be my man cave. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pan this around a little bit. There's nothing in here. I got this chair that I prop my feet up on. I've got a bunch of old electronic shit in the corner. There's my monitor, and there's nothing on the walls. You know what I mean? My walls are just completely fucking bare. So it's going to be nice to put something up. So anyway, I genuinely do hope you had a Merry Christmas, or whichever holiday you choose to celebrate or not celebrate. I hope that it was a good time with your friends and family, and I hope you have a good New Year coming up. Until next time, peace, everybody.